Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am super excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a review and two looks using the new Kaleidos Cyber Bronze palette, which just looks like this, and this was part of their Futurism collection. So here is the inside. You can see that this palette is pretty neutral overall. There's some warm tones and some cool tones and one really fun bright pop of red, but overall I would say that this is the most tame palette of the collection. Just in case you have not seen it already, I'm trying not to be super repetitive, but if you've watched all the videos, I'm so sorry for saying the same things over. But there are two other palettes in the collection, and I have a first impression on all the palettes already up on my channel, and then also a review and two looks with both of these palettes as well. There is the Astro Pink palette, which I did first, and then I did the Sci Fi Green palette, which looks like this, and these are all $24 each, or you can get the entire bundle for $59. So if you want to see my thoughts on these two palettes, definitely go ahead and check out those videos. I'll have them linked down below, but today we are going to be talking about the Cyber Bronze. So this one definitely surprised me the most on initial seeing it in person, because I did receive these as PR, and I felt like from looking at the pictures of this palette, it wasn't something I would have bought myself just because it looks very neutral. And I mean, it looked fine in pictures, but it just wasn't like, oh wow, that's wow, it wasn't a wow feeling. It didn't really catch my attention, but I will say seeing this palette in person, it is really stunning, and I do overall really like this palette, and I feel like the quality is really good overall. I am going to walk through each shade in a moment, but gosh, I feel like I have so many things to say, and it's like, where do I say them? I feel like I'm so bad at being organized whenever I'm doing reviews. But basically my thoughts are that I really do like this palette. I like the quality of it. I think it's really beautiful, but if you have a lot of shadows in your collection, I wouldn't really say that it's super necessary. For me, being a colorful lover, I feel like the standout shades are this bright silver and this bright red. This red is so intense. I mean, you can see it on my eyes. It is just so bam in your face red, which I really love. I love the pigmentation, I love the vibrancy, but I think overall, if you already have a good decent amount of warm neutrals, it might be better off for you to just buy one single bright red shadow rather than to buy a whole palette, because I feel like for me that is what sticks out the most. So in this palette there are three true matte shades, and I do like the gradient going on here. I feel like you can get a really good blend out of these three shades, and I really like the quality overall on all three of them. I feel like they're easy to blend. They're really pigmented, especially if you pack them on and then blend. I think that they're all really nice, and I don't have any complaints about the matte shades other than the fact that it's not really my personal preference because I have those shades so many times over. And then there are three metallic shimmery shades. So my favorite one, it's so hard to decide. Okay, I love the formula of the silver because it's sparkly and metallic and gorgeous and just bam in your face. I've been using this to highlight my inner corner a ton, and I think it's stunning, and it really just adds something to a look, and I love the formula of that one. The other two I would say are still pigmented. They're still bright. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're not that same super intense sparkly foiled shade as some of the other shadows in this collection, for example the silver, which really just catches the light so well. So the red, I feel like it is vibrant. It looks very pigmented on my lid. I think it looks stunning, but it doesn't quite have the same amount of reflect or sparkles. So I don't know, I really like the color of it, but I like the formula of the silver more. And then this last shade is just a typical kind of like a warm rosy copper color, and I do like that one. I feel like for someone who likes neutrals, this palette is going to be super fun because I feel like you can really play it up, or you can play it down, like the first look that I did when I used this all over my lid. I feel like that, it gives a very simple, easy, quick look that's still really beautiful. So I guess I would say, if you are a neutral lover, you will probably like this palette, which is why I've kind of gone back and forth on how to grade this one, because I think if I were going to grade this and I were going to go off of quality, I would give this palette probably an A-. The only little bit missing would be I wish that these two shades were that same super reflective formula. But either way, they are still really beautiful. So overall, I would definitely give this an A. But as far as grading this for my personal preference, I think I would probably give this a B-, just because I don't feel as inspired by this color scheme. I could see going back into it, and I definitely want to do a look with the silver all over the lid and maybe combine it with some other palettes or something. And I do like the fact that there's a silver in here in combination with all the warm shades. I think that is a really interesting touch, but I just don't feel that inspired, like, oh, let me just use these warm matte shades. Like, I don't know, it's not very inspiring to me when I look at the palette, but I do like the quality. So, you know, I feel like obviously every single review is just my opinion, my personal preference, how I feel about it, and then you have to decide what you like in shadows and kind of compare it and see if this would be a good purchase for you or not. So yeah, I love the packaging. I think the packaging is amazing. I like the quality, but I just don't feel as inspired by this particular collection except for the bright red. So for me, being on a low buy, if I was to be having FOMO over this palette, I would go back into my own collection and see, do I have any true metallic reds, and then do a look based around that and see if I'm happy with it. That's my best recommendation whenever you see a palette and you're trying not to spend money, is to look at that palette and think, what looks would I do with this palette, and then try and make those looks with your own collection. Even if you had to pull out 6 different palettes, like, if you can make that look, I feel like it makes it so much easier. So that would be my suggestion for this, but overall I do like it. So I think another shocking thing was I did really love both of the looks that I ended up doing with this palette, especially the look that I have on today. I just feel like it's so impactful, and I just love that bright red, smoky, like, I don't know, I feel like it's a really fun twist on a typical warm neutral eye. Alright, so those are all my thoughts on the palette. Let's just go ahead and jump on into the looks now. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start off with this matte shade right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw that in my crease with a large fluffy brush. I'm also going to take that shade along the lower lash line. And then again, going in with that same shade, I'm going to take it on a more precise brush. And I'm just going to build it up a little bit. And then again, just going in with the fluffy brush. No additional product, and just making sure that everything is nice and blended. I'm going to dip just the tiniest amount into the matte brown shade. And I'm just going to put that on the outer V. I'm actually going to split what I picked up between both eyes because I just want the tiniest amount of definition. Alright, now I'm going to go into this metallic shade here, which is kind of like a rosy bronzy shade. I actually am going to go with my finger just because I want it to be a little bit less precise. I'm just going to go ahead and fill in my lid with that shade. Just slightly blending that edge. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take the silver shade and I'm going to pop that into my inner corner. I'm going to pick up just a touch of the metallic red. I'm going to pop that on the lower lash line. I'm going to pick up just a touch more of this rose shade right here. I'm going to pop that onto the inner part of my eye right here just to blend where the silver came in. Quickly off camera, I'm going to go ahead and add the Ardency and Hot Liner and some mascara, and I'll be right back. For a highlighter today, I'm going to use the Beauty Bakerie Milk and Honey palette, which just looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and take this shade, which is called Spoiler Alert. I haven't put blush on yet, so I think I'm actually going to go ahead and take this shade called Be Sweet, and I'm going to kind of highlight a little bit with that, but I'm also going to, like, you know, I'm going to put it like right here and blend it backwards for a little extra color. More of like a warm peachy highlight. Just going to blend that together. And last but not least, for lips, I'm going to go into the Dose of Colors and I Love Surrey collab and use the shade Aesthetic, which is like a really beautiful, like warm orangey type of color. Alright, so this is the finished first look using the Cyber Bronze palette. I almost just smacked myself in the face, but I hope you enjoyed it. Very, very neutral, but I kind of try to play it up a little bit by doing, you know, this orangey red lip. So I hope you enjoy the look. Now let's go ahead and jump on into the second one. Alright, so for today's look, I'm going to go ahead and start off with this matte shade right here. And I'm going to go ahead and start this shade off in my crease. Alright, and then after it's packed on, I'm just going to take that same brush and just lightly go around the edges. Honestly, for that being one shade, that blended really amazing. I kind of want to do a smoky lower lash line, so I'm going to go ahead and take the brown shade. I'm going to go ahead and take it along the lower lash line. I accidentally got some of my outer V, so I'm just going to take a little bit more just so it doesn't look weird. And just slightly deepen up right here, but not a whole bunch. And then I'm going to blend that out. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and take this beautiful metallic foiled red shade and I'm going to put that all over my lid. I'm going to go in with the brush that I use for my outer V and just like slightly blend that edge right there so it's not so harsh. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab the metallic silver and surprise, surprise, I'm going to pop this on my inner corner again. I actually don't feel like doing falsies today, so I'm just going to go ahead and throw on some mascara and some blue liner in my waterline. For highlighter today, I'm going to go ahead and grab my Ofra Glazed Donut, which is like one of my favorite cool toned highlighters, which even though I've got a lot of warm going on, I just thought with like the silver pop, it would be fun to have a nice cool tone highlight. And then last but not least for lips, I'm going to go into the Ulta Tinted Juice Infused Lip Oil in the shade Passionate Peach. Alright, so this is the finished second look using the palette and I really love how it turned out. I feel like this look was so simple and easy to achieve, but so eye-catching, and that bright red lid shade, I am just living for it. I feel very snatched right now, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it helpful. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!